When dinner time gets near,
You can make it, you can make it.
and your wife has made it clear,
You can make it, you can make it.
it's your turn to cook, my dear.
You can make it, you can make it.
You have no need to fear.
You can make it, you can make it.
Make the dinner feed your spouse, bring peace into your house. You can make it. If you're lucky, she will say,
We will make it, we will make it.
life will be okay. Life will be okay. You can make it.
This is Bill. I'm here at David's place, and tonight David is the cook. And what's for dinner?
We're going to be having a dish called Confucius Confusion. It's been inspired by a restaurant we go to in Vancouver called the Chili Pepper House, which makes a Desi-style Chinese food. It's a race of people who cook Chinese-style food, but with Indian influence. Now, I apologize to all of them because this dish is my creation that's been inspired by them. It's not nearly as good as the food at the Chili Pepper House, but it's a really easy stir fry. It's absolutely delicious, and I think everybody's going to enjoy it. So let's start off with the appropriate internal intake of red wine and have a good start to our meal. Cheers.
Smooth.
We'll start off by chopping up some vegetables. You can do this well in advance of the dish and have it ready. The thing about the vegetables for any stir fry is you got to use what's in season. So feel free to use any vegetables you like, as long as you end up between 4 and 5 cups of julienne vegetables. So let's have a look at the vegetables we've chosen. We've got some snow peas, some fresh beans from my garden, some summer petit pan squash from my garden, some zucchini from my garden, a red pepper, bit of broccoli, a carrot, a few mushrooms, and a little bit of onion. So we'll start chopping it up, and we'll start with the onion. Now this is an old chunk onion that I have left over, so it's going to be kind of hard to cut. But the idea is we want julienne, so you want long thin strips. Don't worry too much about it. So I'm just going to put into mine about half a cup of onion. We're going to put in about a cup of beans, and you just want to hack the ends off, and they're already julienne because these are pretty thin beans. If they were thick, you'd want to cut them lengthwise too. Chopped up our green beans and onions, and now I'm going to throw in a red pepper. And the idea, this is julienne. Julienne means strips, so try and cut your pepper into kind of strips. Don't worry too much about it, but for this recipe, long strips are good. I'm going to start cutting out the petit pans. All petit pans are is a yellow summer squash. Remember, you don't have to look for these vegetables. You just want 4 to 5 cups of cut up vegetables, which means you can even go buy the pre-packaged ones if you want, or whatever you want. It's just, these are what I had at hand. Now for the zucchini, you just want a little bit of zucchini, it's a bit more green color. Okay, we have some frozen snow peas from my garden that I've just thawed out. Just cut them in half so you can keep up that long strip julienne effect. Okay, we'll just put a few florets of broccoli in. Again, the idea is to keep it long and thin. Okay, last two things are the carrots and the mushrooms. Just want a bit of carrot for some orange color. Again, cut it in long thin strips. Mushrooms, make sure you cut the tough ends off. And just cut them a little bit up into long slivers. Now that we've chopped up our vegetables and had the required sip of wine, we're going to cut our meat into julienne strips. When picking out the beef for a stir fry, if you're going to be cutting it thin, you can use any beef you want. Go to whatever you can get on sale at the beef counter or the meat counter in your supermarket. Today, some round steak was the cheapest beef, and I'm just going to cut it in strips. If they've got chuck steak, or if they have any kind of beef that's inexpensive, go ahead and use it, but the idea is cut it in strips. Now, true julienne, you'd also cut it lengthwise like that, so it's thinner, but I'm not being a fanatic, just cut it in wide strips. It's not true julienne. Here I am finishing up the last of the beef to make up 1 pound of thinly sliced beef. So now we're going to make the sauce in preparation for the Confucius Confusion. We're going to use some soy sauce, some hoisin, which is a thick sauce you can get in the Oriental section of your supermarket. It's quite common. I'm going to get some garam masala, which is an Indian spice blend that is available in most supermarkets. If it's not in the spice racks, look in the ethnic area, and some red wine. The proportions are quite simple. You're going to want to put in about 1/3 of a cup of soy sauce. And then you're going to want to put in a couple of big spoonfuls of hoisin sauce. Now, this hoisin sauce is the thick kind. There's a liquid kind you can get as well. You can use either one. With this, you're going to use 2 big spoonfuls. If you're using the liquid one, you want to put in about 50 milliliters. This is going to be about 35 milliliters because the thicker stuff is stronger. And then we're going to put in about 2 teaspoons of garam masala, which is about 10 milliliters. And then, don't do that. And then you're going to put in enough wine to bring it up to a cup. So the confusion for Confucius is there's Indian spices and Western red wine. And we just give them a little stir to get it ready for the put on the stir fry. The last pre-preparation step you've got to do is get about 50 milliliters or a 1/4 cup of water and put in 15 milliliters or a tablespoon of cornstarch. And just stir it up to dissolve it because you'll need it at the end to thicken the sauce and make it so rich. We're ready to start stir frying the vegetables and the beef. I'm using a wok. You can use a large frying pan, but the shape of a wok just makes it easier to do the vegetables. And I've got an electric wok, so I'll just start heating it up here a bit. I set it for 400, and I put just a couple tablespoons of oil in. Now this wok is 30 years old and is not non-stick. So occasionally during cooking the meat might stick in that a bit. Just throw a few tablespoons of water in and it won't stick, or buy a non-stick wok or use a non-stick frying pan. The wok will tell you when it's ready to start cooking because just a few little wisps of smoke will start coming off of the fat. There's just a few little wisps of smoke coming off of the fat now, or off the oil that was put in there. And we're just going to throw in our pound of beef, which will go in as a large chunk of beef. And the secret to a wok is keep it moving. We've been stir frying for a couple of minutes and you'll see the beef starting to lose the pink color and starting to get a little brown, which means it's just got a couple more minutes to go. You're going to cook it until it's cooked, just cooked through. Now the beef looks to me from the outside like it's cooked all the way through, but how do you know for sure? Well, you take a relatively thick piece of the beef, just put it in the bottom of your wok, slice through it. Is there any red in there? No, it's down. You can have a little bit of pink, that's okay, but this has got just a touch of pink, so it's perfect. So it's now ready to add the vegetables. So we've thrown the vegetables in and you get that beautiful mixture of colors in there. It's just gorgeous. And now you're just going to give this a bit of a stir for a couple of minutes and get the vegetables heated up. When the vegetable colors start to get just a little bit bright, that means they start to pick up some heat from the wok. And what you're going to do is you're going to throw the lid on the wok and you're going to let it sit for about 2 or 3 minutes just until you start to get some steam wisps around the lid. About 2.5 minutes have gone by, getting up to 3, and you see just a bit of steam coming out. When that happens, then the vegetables are cooked. Just give them a bit of a stir over and they get that beautiful, lovely color with the beef. And now we're going to add our sauce. Give it a stir to make sure all the ingredients are in there and just pour it over. and bring it to a boil while you continue to give it a little bit of a stir. Just coat all the vegetables. I think so a couple minutes have gone by and we kept it stirred and the sauce has started to boil. So just take your cornstarch in the water and stir it up to make sure that it gets dissolved again and it all goes in. And pour it on top. And now you just want to keep going until it thickens. So we're just a minute or so after we added the cornstarch and you can see that the sauce is getting nice and thick. It's not as thick as you like it. Take another tablespoon of cornstarch, mix it with some cold water and throw it in and give it another minute. This is looking just perfect. So now that the sauce is nice and thick and bubbly, and you got that nice dark color, we have completed our Confucius Confusion. We just have to put it in a serving dish and enjoy.
So that's Confucius Confusion. Looks wonderful. Let's give it a try. Wonderful.
A little bit of rice, and you can make it.
When dinner time gets near
You can make it, you can make it.
and your wife has made it clear,
You can make it, you can make it.
it's your turn to cook, my dear.
You can make it, you can make it.
You have no need to fear.
You can make it, you can make it.
Make the dinner feed your spouse, bring peace into your house. You can make it. If you're lucky, she will say,
We will make it, we will make it.
and life will be okay. Life will be okay. You can make it.